Today, I will be doing something a little different for you guys. I will be playing one of the hardest roles in my acting career. Did you guys know that I was an actor? Best actor in the state of Utah in 1999. Don't do the math. Don't do the math. But it's been a while. What role did I play? I played a black man with AIDS. The drama teacher who wrote the play had never left the state, only met one black man in his life, had nothing, didn't know anything about AIDS, but he cast me. I looked for the picture to try to give it to you, but I think the Mormons scrubbed it from the yearbook. Because here, this is the only picture I have. This is some other play that I didn't win Best Actor in the state of Utah for. And you might be thinking maybe they scrubbed it because I put on blackface. Did I put on blackface? Will there be a picture down the line coming up of me wearing blackface in a play in Utah? I didn't wear blackface, okay? That's how good of an actor I was. I tell you this because today I will be playing one of the hardest roles ever. A role I've prepared for by watching this movie. I Am Sam. This movie is the cornerstone of the role I'll be playing today. Today, I will be playing the role of a Republican. A Republican looking for the news on Monday after he saw this tweet over the weekend. All right, you ready? And Daniel Day-Lewis, I know you're a subscriber of the show, so if you're watching and you have to play a Republican in the near future, honestly, priceless movie to start with. Cate Blanchett. If you have to play a Republican in the future, maybe not this movie, maybe The Other Sister. There you go. That'll get you on your way. It'll get you really in the mindset of a Republican, of a conservative in the year 2025. Sorry, weekend, I'm a Republican. I wake up and I read, I'm not happy. This is Donald Trump on Truth Social. By the way, I Am Sam, in this movie, funny enough, he has a Truth Social account. Weird, right? I am not happy with the Russian strikes on Kiev. Not necessary. Very bad timing. Vladimir, stop. Vladimir, stop. With an exclamation point. 5,000 soldiers a week are dying. Let's get a peace deal. Done. Stop. This is the weakest man. This is the weakest president we've ever had. Stop. That's how my wife yells at me when I'm tickling her, right? Because it's not a kink. Let me go off on a side note right here. It's not a kink. I just want to know if I could tickle her so long and so hard that she actually pees herself, okay? It's not sexual. I just want to see if I can get there, if I can unlock that trophy. I digress. That's the same way she says it. He's trying to stop a war that he said would be done. I'll show you the clip in 2 seconds before he even got into office, right? He's saying that in the same way my wife tells me to quit tickling her.
I will prevent, and very easily, World War III. Very
thank
easily.
God.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled.
Such a relief.
It will be settled quickly.
Great.
Quickly. I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order, and it will take me no longer than 1 day. I know exactly what to say to each of them. I got along very well with them.
Everybody knows, including them, that Trump supporters are used to getting lied to. They're used to getting lied to by the news they consume, by the comedy they consume. That's the episode tomorrow. I didn't put it up today because usually episodes bomb on Monday, but there's a big episode coming up tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. By the comedy they consume, by the commercials they consume. Sure, Chud, Mike Huckabee selling you a boner pill, gave you that big old boner, but it sure didn't fix your face. All right, so you're not getting laid tonight, Scooter. And the only pussy you're going to be seeing tonight is this guy. This guy right here. Look at him. Pope's funeral. Sleepy Joe Biden. She's hoping he's dying. Sleepy Joe Biden. Sleeping at the Pope's funeral. And I recognize that move. That's what my in-laws do when I try to tell them what Jesus actually said. We can't. We're sleeping. Tell us tomorrow. It's 1 p.m. Sundown, you better take care. If I find you, creep around my back stairs. Lindsey Graham Papa did. Did someone say backstairs? Sit down, Lids. We're getting off track. I'm getting out of character. I'm just a conservative. And I saw this tweet over the weekend, and I just want some news about what's going on in my country. Because I support, with two peepees in the middle, I support the troops. It's Monday morning. I bet they're having one of those pressers, one of those press conferences. Let me tune in. See what they're talking about.
One more. After the president's Truth Social post, the Browns finally took Chud Sanders. Does the president think he deserves credit for Sanders getting picked? And does he think going to the Browns is better than being undrafted?
Hey, all I will say is the president put out a statement, and a few rounds later he was drafted. So I think the facts speak for themselves.
Stop!
Here. We'll go to the back row in the middle.
Stop! Peter Douchey. They've kicked out all the real reporters in this room. They actually have a separate one. We're going to be cutting clips for both of them where they let in, Beanie Baby and Libs of TikTok. And I guess even, if you thought it could get worse than old Douchey asking a fantasy football pick, here you go.
Remember sir. Yeah, well, had to swing by. Thank you for doing this. I think it's marvelous what you guys have done to bring in new voices. And it shows, it reflects the president's commitment to
new voices.
And to bring this.
This dude was the press secretary.
The first is you mentioned reconciliation. Beyond that, and what he hopes to get out of that, considering how slim the House majority is, what other legislative priorities does he want to see codified in law before this Congress adjourns?
Mm-hmm. It's a really good question, Sean. I think reconciliation is the first and foremost question on the president's mind right now. It's a huge deal. We have to get it done. He's working closely with Congress. In fact, he's meeting with Speaker John.
Sean Spicer, fired from Newsmax, is allowed in this special room. Like I said, this is a special room. First they have the first propaganda room where all the real reporters have been kicked out. And then they bring in your Tim Pools and, your Libs of TikTok in here. Tim Pool. I don't think we ever reconciled, speaking of reconciliation, the fact that he took $600,000 from Russia. I guess that doesn't matter. That gets you in this special room. So any of you wondering why the background changed, we're going to be jumping back and forth a little bit. Sean Spicer, bottom of the barrel. Eventually, we have to get to a good question, right?
In Trump's first 99 days, we've seen a coordinated assault on the rule of law by radical judges who are thwarting his agenda with an unprecedented number of national injunctions. These judges are providing more due process to violent MS-13 in Nicaragua,
Not sure it's
illegal aliens than they did for American citizens who peacefully protested on January 6th. As Stephen Miller has highlighted, it would be utterly ridiculous to have full trials and appeals for the more than 15 million illegal aliens that came across our border under Joe Biden. Many are now calling for Trump to circumvent these radical judges and consider suspending the writ of habeas corpus solely for these illegal aliens.
Yeah, one sec. Any of you that don't know, this actually isn't a question. This is how news happens in dictatorships, right? He's given all these talking points, right? There's not a question in there. January 6th, unfair. He's going to keep going on and on. I just want you to see what the perverseness of the Fourth Estate. I'm just a conservative trying to figure out what's going on in the news. I'm trying to get a statement from the White House. I can't even keep track of all of them. I think this is one of the Epstein guys. He talks about it later, one of the guys who got the binders. He's given notes that he's reading specifically to the press secretary. It keeps going on. What are we, like a minute in already to a question? It keeps going on because it's a sham. This is how dictatorships look. This is how an autocracy. Autocracy? I'll think about how to say that while we listen to the rest of this.
In accordance with the terms of Article 1, Section 9 of the United States Constitution, which explicitly allows for such a measure when there is a rebellion or invasion. There's strong precedent for this action, being that it was exercised by three of our greatest presidents, Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses S. Grant, and Democrats' favorite president of all time, FDR. All three of which are not only celebrated by historians, but are immortalized on our national currency with their faces on there. Furthermore, all three used it against American citizens, where in this instance, we would only be using it against illegal aliens. I think almost every reasonable American would agree that 15 million illegal aliens coming
This is a question.
across our border
You've
under Joe
tuned
Biden
in to
counts
see
as an
what's
invasion,
going on in your country.
especially since many, as you highlighted, are now
Give it a
robbing,
shot.
assaulting, raping, and killing American citizens. Historic assaults on our republic require reciprocal action from our government. Can you please let us know if and when the Trump administration is planning to suspend the writ of habeas corpus to circumvent these radical judges who are infringing on
a long
his
walk
Article
for a
2
short
powers
drink of water.
and to start shipping out illegals en masse?
I have not heard such discussions take place, but I can assure you that the president and the entire administration are certainly open to all legal and constitutional remedies to ensure we can continue with the promise of deporting illegal criminals from our nation's borders. And I also agree with the premise of your question, which doesn't happen in this room often, but I do agree with yours.
How
That
coincidental.
the previous administration was allowed to allow 15 million that we know about illegal aliens into this country.
She's just gonna drone on and on because his thing was actually what they're putting out there, right? She has no answer for the question because he's a plant, and the question was in itself what the news clip, which Fox News can grab later and be like, finally. She says, oh, wow. Did not expect this question from the note cards we gave you when you walked into the room. She is not a good actress, right? She's not a good actress. I know she was an Instagram influencer. Here, try this lip gloss. It's what all the fascist mobs are using. I don't know whose voice that is. That's her voice. But she's not a good actress. She's not the best actor in the state of Utah. I'm just a Republican who wants to know what's going on with this tweet. This Chud's question right here, right? Put the subtitles on. The subtitles of this Chud's question are, why is President Trump's dick so big? Right? Why is it so big, Carolyn? Why is it so beautiful? You know, it's hard to build something as big as his dick and keep the inherent beauty. Why is that? And she says, I don't know. I'll look into it. That's where we're at in the news. You know, I'll look into all 2 inches of it and get back to you. So he puts a new suit on. I'm a different reporter now. This is the same day. I'm in a different room. I'm in the influencer's room also. And he has another question.
My question is about the Epstein files. And a couple months ago, the DOJ released what they called phase 1 of the Epstein files. And they announced that a lot of those files, the remaining files, probably the bulk of the files, are actually in the New York field office. They requested that they be returned the day after, and some legacy media reports show that
I wonder what she's going to say to this one.
To the DOJ, but that hundreds of FBI agents are going through them day after
what's
day,
going on?
Getting them ready for public release. Do you have any updates
Carolyn?
from the DOJ or the FBI on when those files are expected to be released, and also when we might start seeing some arrests of the clients?
Sure.
Hold your breath, buddy.
I can assure you that the Attorney General and her team at the Department of Justice are working on this diligently.
Sure.
For a specific timeline, I'd have to check in
You'd
with
have
them.
to ask Trump.
And we can certainly do that for you, Rogan, in the effort of transparency. But I will tell you, the Attorney General is a bulldog. She is someone you want on your team. And when she wants to get something done, she gets it done.
Hey, there you go. When she wants to get something done, she gets it done. And this isn't done. This Chud right here was one of the ones that got the fake binders, right? He held it up like he was doing something. That's all I know about him. Honestly, that's all I want to know about him. But he held up his fake binder. And now it's weird he doesn't ask, you know, a 10-minute long question about Epstein, where he starts listing off like he did in the last one. Like, 20 years of friendship with Trump. Trump called him a fun guy who likes younger girls. These pictures. Elon Musk, everybody else. Why did it, part of his question, Epstein died when Trump was president, and Bill Barr, whose dad gave Epstein a job, was the Attorney General, and the camera went out and the guard was sleeping. So my question is, why did he do that? For this question, we all know why. That's never coming out. What are you doing, buddy? Go hold up your binder outside. Because that's all you are, right? You're a puppet for them to hold up and pretend like you're media. Don't act like you're more. Don't go off script. I'm just a Republican who's trying to figure out if we're going to war. Maybe libs of TikTok can tell me what that tweet means. Stop Vladimir means.
See in American history. So with that, let's kick it off, and I'm happy to take your question first, Aaron.
Thanks so much, Caroline, both for having us and for granting me the first question here.
Sure.
And I can attest to the deportations in Florida. My Uber drivers finally speak English again, so thank you for that. But my question for you is, what are the administration's plans for those who continue to defy the executive orders? Most notably, on my mind, are the ones
Her
related to...
Uber driver finally speaks English. And I understand how hard that is, because 2 weeks ago, I got into an Uber, and the driver spoke zero English, had no idea what I was saying. I mean, true, to drive an Uber, all you really need to know is directions. And also, I was in France, so he spoke French. But honestly, I agree with libs of TikTok here. That French Uber driver should know better, and he should speak English, because everybody should speak English, or we'll send him to Venezuela. It's libs of TikTok. I just want to know. Just want to know what's going on with the troops. To the actual room.
Peter, which, by the way, is why we've made many changes to this briefing room in this White House. It's long overdue. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you. A few things. You guys arrested a Milwaukee County circuit judge for allegedly
Don't ask the wrong
helping illegal
question,
immigrants
Douchey.
get away. As you guys look at other judges, would you ever arrest somebody higher up on the judicial food chain, like a federal judge or even a Supreme Court justice?
Well, that's a hypothetical question. Again, I defer you to the Department of Justice for individuals that they are looking at or individual cases. But let's be clear about what this judge did. She obstructed federal law enforcement who were looking for an illegal alien in her courthouse. She showed that illegal alien the door to evade law enforcement officials. That is a clear-cut case of obstruction. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand that. And so anyone who is breaking the law or obstructing federal law enforcement officials from doing their job is putting themselves at risk of being prosecuted. Absolutely.
You guys have
When Douchey is asking the hardest hitting questions in that room. I mean, what is it? The reporters that are left, are they getting scared of being sent to an El Salvador prison? With federal judges, American citizens will be sent here.
And I live in upstate New York, and I represent upstate New York. My region has numerous state prisons, including 2 maximum security prisons that really are more like country clubs. And I know a lot of corrections officers. I was just with one a couple of nights ago, and she's a young woman who works in the prison, was telling me, she said the prisoners are running everything now because of the laws in New York. Now, you go to this prison, it is very clear that these people are in harsh conditions. I'm not going to say this is exactly what we should be doing, but let's look at the results. You go to prison because, number one, you're being punished, and number two, it's deterrence. El Salvador went from being one of the most dangerous places in the world to being the safest place in the Americas. And where have all the gang crime, and these are all gang members, by the way, where have they gone?
Sure.
They're going to Costa Rica and Honduras and Guatemala
Soccer
and neighboring
tattoos, right?
countries because they tolerate the gang violence.
I'm just looking for an answer, but since we're talking to this lady, she says, American prisons are way too easy. She says these prisons might be too violent, but who am I to say at this point? So let's just keep sending people there. Let's send that judge there until we figure it out, right? The Democrats are pussies, right? They are pussies. But if they weren't pussies, one thing I would like to see happen, maybe I don't want to see it happen, but maybe I do. One thing I would like to see happen is if somehow there's another free and fair election, and that's a big somehow, that's a highly, in quotes, somehow, another free and fair election, and the Democrats get the presidency again. Keep this El Salvador program open and start sending Republicans there. Send Teeny there, whoever this Rep Teeny. Tell her, you illegally sent U.S. citizens to El Salvador, and your own words, maximum security in the United States is like a country club, a cunt club, so we don't want to send you there. Why don't you go spend some time in this El Salvadorian prison, just till we figure it out. Get shanked, right? Come on, man. Is there any news questions? Is there any questions about what's going on with the Department of Defense with World War III? It'll be solved before I become president. I didn't say that. I was joking.
Peter. We'll go to the back row in the middle, to the blonde.
Yes.
Hello.
President Trump has said that Secretary Hegseth will get it together. Does he think that Hegseth doesn't have it together right now?
Look, the president has made his position on Secretary Hegseth quite clear. He absolutely has confidence in the secretary's ability to lead the Pentagon. It's why he nominated him for this position. It's why the Senate voted to confirm him in this position. And look at the success that DOD has had thus far. Their successful operation against the Houthi terrorists in the Middle East. You look at the recruitment and retention levels for all branches of our armed forces are on the incline, which is exactly what this president intended to do. Secretary Hegseth has completely wiped out DEI from the Pentagon as well, and so he's going to remain focused.
She reminds me of like one of those abused wives. She comes out with the black eye, and she says, "Sure, Pete's drinking again. Sure, he's texting out all our secrets. Oh, look, Elon's team has nuclear secrets now. Sure, Elon's team has access to nuclear secrets, big balls. It's free to go sell them around. Sure, there's dysfunction. And he's a dysfunctioning alcoholic. But he's a good man, right? That's what it sounds like. All she needs is the black eye. You just don't know him like we know him. When we're alone together, sometimes he's nice to me. He does good things. He's a good man." And what she's replying to, but not replying. Why even have this lady? Honest to God, you watch this? Wait, am I still in character? If I was in character, why even watch this? To just reaffirm my shitty beliefs? I guess so. But what Trump said is Pete Hegseth will eventually get it together. And I want you to think about what that means, right? We as a country, with a $1 trillion, more than $1 trillion defense budget, we're all putting that in to ride along with a guy and help him get sober. Saving Private Hegseth. This is batshit. This is crazy. If I was really a conservative tuning in to try to figure out what the plan was behind help, you know what I mean? You've been waiting. Early exhibit of man right here. She comes out, she says it's over. The war's over. Because they took this picture at the Pope's funeral after Trump woke up. I think you learned the war is actually not over. And it's not going to be over for a long time because Trump is yelling out, "Stop." As a conservative, watching this movie, right? I Am Sam. Even he eventually got tired of being lied to. You, the Chud who's called yourself a patriot, unironically, for the past 20, 25 years. Support the troops plastered on the side of your truck after 9/11. I'm talking to you, right? This is one day of news. This is today. This is this morning. There's more BS headed down the pipeline for the rest of the day on Fox News, but this is one news cycle. With the press secretary in 2 separate rooms because she had to make a safe space for your conservative news because it can't hold up to the scrutiny of an actual press room in a first world republic. So to you, Fox News viewer, unironic Fox News viewer, idiotic Chud, to you, I have some old news for you, all right? You were an idiot back then. You were a dumbass, right? I have some breaking news for you. You're still an idiot. You're still a dumbass. And I have some future projection news for you, Chud. If you are looking for an answer to what's going on in the world from this press conference, I have some future projections. You will always be an idiot. The Chud Report.
Trump is the new Adolf.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. As I said earlier, there's a longer episode coming out tomorrow. It's about conservative comedy. Put a lot of research, put a lot of time in it. So go ahead and check that out. Let me know what you think. And yeah, that's all I got for you.
One more. After the president's Truth Social post, the Browns finally took Shadur Sanders. Does the president think he deserves credit for Sanders getting picked? And does he think going to the Browns is better than being undrafted?
Hey, all I will say is the president put out a statement, and a few rounds later he was drafted. So I think the facts speak for themselves on that one, Peter. We'll go to the back row in the middle, to the blonde. Yeah.